Data type is an attribute associated with a piece of data that tells a computer system how to interpret its value. Understanding data types ensures that data is collected in the required format and the value of each property is as expected. We are learning about JSON and it provides us several data types. Well, hello and welcome back, guys. In the previous lecture, we had a brief introduction of what JSON is. And in today's lecture, we are going to learn about JSON data types. Now, JSON, it supports mainly 6 data types, and they are string, number, Boolean, null, object, and array. Now, let us see our first data type, which is string. JSON strings must be written in double quotes like C language. Now, there are various special characters, escape characters in JSON that you can use in strings, such as backslash, forward slash, backspace, new line, N, T, horizontal tab, etc. Let us see its simple example. Name, John. City, New York, USA. Here, forward slash is used for escape character. Next is number, represented in base 10 and octal and hexadecimal formats are not used. Numbers in JSON must be an integer or a floating point. Let us see its examples. Age, 20, integer. Percentage, 82.44, floating point. Now, let us move forward to our next data type, which is Boolean. This data type can be either true or it can be false. Let us see its example. Result, true. The next one is null. It is just a defined nullable value. Its example is result, true. Grade, null. Roll number, 210. The second property is null. Next one is object. It is a set of name or value pairs inserted between curly braces. The keys must be strings and should be unique, and multiple key and value pairs are separated by a comma. Syntax of JSON object is key, value. Example is info, name, Peter, age, 20, score, 50.05. And now let us see the last one, which is array. It is an ordered collection of values and begins with left bracket and ends with the right bracket. The values of the array, they are separated by comma. Syntax of JSON array is value. Example of JSON array is employees, John, Anna, Peter. Well, these are some data types which JSON supports. JSON values cannot be one of the following data types: a function, a date, undefined. So that's it for today, guys. You have already learned all of these data types. So it's easier for you to understand JSON data types really quickly. JavaScript, an object, is a standalone entity with properties and type. Compare it with a cup, for example. Now, a cup is an object with properties. A cup has a color, it has a design, weight, a material that it is made of, etc. In the same way, JavaScript objects can have properties which define their characteristics. An object literal is a comma-separated list of name-value pairs inside curly braces. Those values can be properties or functions. And you all are well aware that we are learning JSON in JavaScript, and it allows us to work with object literals. As I mentioned earlier, JSON in JavaScript allows us to work with object literals. And today we are going to learn about JSON object literals. But before that, let us quickly see the agenda of this video. We will start off with a simple example of JSON object literal, and then we will move forward and see how to convert a JSON object literal to JavaScript object, and then ways to display the object properties. At the end, there is an assignment for you all. So without wasting any more time, let us get started. First of all, the important things that you should keep in mind are, it is a common mistake to call a JSON object literal a JSON object. JSON cannot be an object. JSON is a string format. The data is only JSON when it is in a string format. When it is converted to a JavaScript variable, it becomes a JavaScript object. So what exactly are these object literals? Well, JSON object literals are surrounded by curly braces. JSON object literals contain key value pairs. Keys and values are separated by a colon. Keys must be strings and values must be a valid JSON data type. For example, string, a number, object, array, Boolean, null. Each key value pair is separated by a comma. This is a JSON string. Name, John, age, 30, car, null. Inside the JSON string, there is a JSON object literal. Name, John, age, 30, car, null. So we have seen how to convert the JavaScript object from a JSON object literal using JSON.parse. So let us reiterate that. Let us see an example. Here it is on your screen. So in this example, there is a JSON object literal. MyJSON, MyJSON. We are converting the MyJSON object literal using JSON.parse MyJSON and storing it into myObj. We are accessing the properties of the object like this. myObj.name. We can also access object values by using bracket notation like this. Here it is on your screen. myObj name. So we are accessing the name property of the object. Let us see the output. Great, the output is John, which is the name property. When the object concept comes up, it becomes necessary to learn the ways to display each property of the object. Here we are going to use for in loop to loop through each key and value pair. Let us see the example to loop through each key of the object. Here it is on your screen. In this example, we are using for in loop to loop through the keys. X represents each key of myObj. Then we are displaying the keys on the screen using the variable text. Let us see the output. We have displayed each key successfully. The output is name, age, car. Let us see the example to loop through each value of the object. Have a look at your screen. In this example, we are using for in loop to loop through values of myObj. X represents each property of myObj. Then we are displaying the values of the keys on the screen using myObj X and storing it into variable text, then displaying it. So let us see the output. We have displayed the values of the key John, 30, null. So that is it about the JSON object literal. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. And here is an assignment for you all. Convert this JSON object literal into JS object and display its properties. Constant fruits is equal to name, apple, color, red, shape, round. So let us wrap up this lecture here and we will meet very soon in the next one. Till then, stay connected and stay safe.